Ignite to Impact.
Welcome to the Ignite to Impact podcast, and we are bringing you people who transform careers, entrepreneurial paths, and community. So we call these folks leaders because they're influencers. They create life-changing opportunities in business and in life, and they inspire and they teach us. I'm Dr. Geneva, your host, and thank you for being here with me in the voiceover production studios of Michigan's legendary Gerald McBride. You know, I look forward to these weekly conversations with people who are making a difference because they're pushing past challenges and fears to better themselves and others. They're creative problem solvers, so they're solving everyday problems. And they're creating community or worldwide change. So I just love having the conversation with people who do come from all walks of life, but with one thing in common. They've learned how to unleash their influence for impact in whatever they're doing, and they make things better than they found them, and they're here to share their stories and secrets. And today, in studio, I'm just excited. I have, and you know, I'm always just really thrilled by the conversations we have with people, and we have such extraordinary guests on Ignite to Impact. And today is no exception. I have award-winning market researcher and yoga instructor, master yoga instructor, Dena Dodd Perry with me from Chicago. She's a lifestyle influencer and an inventor. She's been featured on Dr. Oz, and she has graciously agreed to spend some time with us today. I'm so delighted. How are you, Dena?
I'm doing great, and good morning. That was just so sweet of you. What a wonderful introduction. I just feel honored to be invited and just reconnecting with my wonderful, powerful city of Detroit. So you are a powerhouse.
Well, thank you. And as you know, we're coming to you from Detroit, the Motor City, and I'm so delighted we have listeners here in Detroit, but all over the world. Dena, I was looking at some of the stats about our show, and we're getting people who are listening in from China and from Africa and Asia. So all your good conversation, Dena, that I know you're going to be sharing with us, and your tips and strategies, they're going to be heard all over the world.
Great.
And so I just say hello again to you. And you're a mompreneur. What's a mompreneur?
That's a great way of describing it, because we as ladies, I think we can have it all, but it just may not be at one time. And so you have to make different decisions at different points in life. So for me, I grew up in Detroit and had a wonderful family. Both parents were at home. They inspired me in many, many ways, and I was really blessed to have all four grandparents, in fact. They inspired me, and I had this gift of math and science, and I was really good at it, and I really excelled at all of my STEM projects. And in the United States, STEM, just for people who are not aware, the S stands for science, the T stands for technology, E, engineering, and M for mathematics. And that's for some of your international followers. So with that in mind, I had numerous mentors throughout my educational experience in Detroit. I went to a magnet middle school, Region 5 middle school over, I think it was Halley at the time, years ago, off of 6 Mile. And then I was able to test in and really attend Cass Technical High School.
Oh, right. Cass. My daughter went to Cass. When were you at Cass?
Yeah, I studied...
when did you graduate from Cass?
I graduated in 1986.
Okay. Dena, can you so you're into STEM, the science and math, honors, all that sort of good stuff. How'd you end up in health and fitness and marketing?
Yes, that's a great question. Pretty much my journey has taken me to areas where I've always been active at a community level. So I played softball with the Northwest Cougars Association in Detroit, Michigan for about 8 years. So I always loved that.
Okay.
And I then realized, like, hey, this academic work and, my achievements can really get me a job. You want a job, you want to make money, I've got to pay these bills. So I knew strategically, I had to go that route. So I really didn't have as much time to pursue the athletic career in softball, for example, until much later, where I took a break, to take care of my kids. My husband travels a lot, and I was the CEO of the home, if you will, and I decided to basically join a running group. And so I was running pretty much 3, 4, 5 days a week and not stretching. So shame on me, right? So I was playing paddle also at the local club and was doing great at that. And with paddle, I'm not sure if you are familiar with it, but it's a doubles format. It's a small ball. It can bounce off of the screen and you get it back. But it gets very competitive. I'm sure I fell a few times. Long story short, I had a defining moment where I had severe sciatica all the way from my hip to my toe, my big toe, and, the limp foot thing. It was just so dramatic and traumatic for me, and we couldn't figure out really what was going on at the physical therapist level, at the PT level. So I had to go to see a neurosurgeon. I said, let's do another MRI and see what's going on with that. And they found, Dr. Jonathan Sittow is his name, he's a renowned neurosurgeon from the University of Chicago, found a fragment in my back.
Oh, a fragment of what?
It was of my bone. It seeped in there. And I think what happened, the correct protocol, medical protocol, I followed it, is that I had received an epidural maybe twice. And I think during the second epidural, I believe I had a prior injury, a fracture.
Oh,
and
I see.
The needle, it fell in there and was lodged in there because it was after that moment where...
Ooh, I know that was painful.
Yeah, it's like a nerve. I wish that upon no one on earth. It was excruciating pain. And it's one of those things where you actually look fine, but you don't feel good.
Yes, yes.
People can't feel your pain. So it was an awkward situation, but he told me that, Dena, 30 minutes outpatient for me, you'll do great. So I went through that, and today I have committed to stretching. And he said to me, I don't want to see you again. I said, I don't want to see you again.
And so this is what got you to the yoga teacher side of things.
Correct. And I said, what do you think about, ways to maintain health? And he said, really, in all of our cases, is keeping your weight down and stretching. So you're active, but you have not been stretching. So if you really want to provide really good health for the whole body experience, if you will, with all of these sports, you have to stretch.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
How about yoga teacher training? He said that's a great idea. And so I, did my little research, and the yoga teacher training was a little more accessible to me than some of the Pilates, styles, if you will. And so I ended up going through my 200-hour training and realized I wanted to learn more about the anatomy, so I pursued another 300 hours and completed that with North Shore Yoga, just north of Chicago. Sharon Galindo has that. She's been running her yoga studios for about 3 years, and she's phenomenal. So in the context of that, I developed a business called YogaShero, Be Your Own Hero.
Okay.
It's fabulous, for me, because it's about realizing that we can change our own health outcomes with little incremental lifestyle changes.
Yes, and so
small things you can do. It's the foods you pick. It's also the fitness choices that you make.
Okay, so if I could have you repeat just that, I think that was just wonderful. So it's the taking that taking those little steps. I mean, our listeners.
Yep.
So say a little bit more about this, Dena. And you know, you started the 200 hours of training, the 300, but now you're a 500 hour yoga teacher, been trained, right?
Correct. And that's where you're getting a little bit more into the real core historic sutra principles. Sutra, don't be afraid of the word. All it means is it's an Indian Sanskrit name that means core principles within the yogic philosophy.
Okay.
You have to understand that even before Jesus Christ, we had monks who were Indian who wanted to study the science of the mind and thought. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And there are some really powerful principles that really resonate well with all of us, and they're universal. So it's things like just being present.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be thinking, like, what does that mean? Well, we can look in the past with regret or with guilt, or we can look in the future with anxiety, thinking about for you, like, the next interview, the next day, I got to get groceries, or whatever it is. But there's power in just now, this conversation I'm having with you.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you're given good information, a good report, it could be a great health report, or a not so good health report. It's our breath through mind and body connection that gets us through.
Mm-hmm.
Think about if you get bad information, it could be something simple or common. Hi, you got borderline cholesterol. Well, if you're just finding that out, you're not happy about it. But if you're connecting with your breath, taking a big inhale, filling up that belly, and exhaling, letting it go, and really concentrating on you for a moment, you'll find that you'll handle your struggles, your challenges so much better than without, the breath work and the yoga that you may have learned. So all I'm saying here, that was just like a little quick lesson, what they call pranayama, which is breathing in yoga. But it's just designed, your breath work as the life force is designed to calm the brain, to calm you down, to understand there's hope the next day, and just be present with what you have here and now, the power of now, because it's all we got, So
yes.
If we come back to that every day, you will feel better and be better. Yeah.
I love you sharing. No, I was just going to say, I love you sharing that gift with our listeners, what you just did, the breathing, the being present, the mindfulness. That was a beautiful gift. Share some more. Because our listeners are so interested in the whole conversation around balance. That's a part of it, and I think the flip side of it is a focus on me.
Yes, exactly. Self-care. So there are 8 different limbs within yoga, and specifically you will see on social media just the asanas, which are the poses, and that's what I teach in class. But what we're finding more and more, at least just with anecdotal, feedback that I'm getting from friends, and I teach at retreats, 3 times a year, is that people love even just simple meditation with breath work. So, and pranayama is another one. So meditation is one of the limbs, breathing is one of the limbs, focus is one of the limbs, enlightenment is one of the limbs. There's so many, but I won't go through each one. But I will say that meditation, just starting with 5 minutes a day where it's your time, you could do walking, moving meditation where you're counting. That's a form of meditation. It's called sound mantra. You can also take, if you're a Christian, or Muslim or whatever you are, take a verse and keep repeating it to yourself over and over and over again. And what the yogic science has said is that when you're repeating these things over and over again with breath work, it calms the mind and takes you to a better place where your blood pressure is better, where your well-being and sense of well-being feels better. And that's where we want to get you. So meditation is paying attention to the present moment with intention, without judgment.
Now you've had specialized mantra meditation training, right?
Correct. So in my 500-hour, that was adding that 300-hour component, I flew to San Diego and participated in the very intensive training at the Chopra Center, Deepak Chopra. I'm sure many of you.
Deepak Chopra. Now, see, that is... that's like top notch. I mean, that's like if you've been trained there. Isn't that a very, very highly regarded, world-renowned
it is.
place?
In the world of yogic training, it's pretty much as high as you can get. And what I love about their practice and their center is they really try to go across the entire world and get the best and brightest, methods of teaching yoga. And so I went through the sound mantra training, and they actually will take your birth date as well as the time of your birth and find out the universal sound that took place at the time of your birth. And they will give that sound to you, and you can meditate on that. How powerful is that?
Oh, my goodness.
So it's very tailored to you.
So
and you can't tell anyone. So I can't tell you my sound.
Oh, because that was my next question. So give up your sound. That was my next. Oh, you can't. So you have to keep that private.
Yeah, they want you to keep it private.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but there's a way you can pay to do that if you are curious. They probably are not the only ones in the country who do it, but it's worth checking out if you're just kind of curious what you're saying.
Yes, but I want you to take us back to that day, couple of days, week that you spent in San Diego at the Chopra Center. What was it like? I mean, step us in. Like if we'd never experienced anything, take us through the front door.
Okay, so when you arrive at the center, it's on a beautiful resort. It's all Spanish styled with the terracotta rooftops and beautiful white painting there. And you're really required to really feel alone in a way because you're there too. It's a good thing to go by yourself, actually. You have your own room. What they typically do is have a schedule. It's a 3-day schedule, and you arrive with what feels like strangers, but by the time that you end, you feel like you have a connection with the whole body there. And there might be anywhere from 100 to 250 people there. So you're seated in a conference format. They typically on the first day will have renowned speakers like Marianne Williamson speak. She's a Native Indian person, and she will speak to either her current thinking, Course of Miracles, and give her testimony. There are a few other professors that they'll have come from the University of California, speak on their journey as a mother or dealing with life challenges and really building up the case for meditation. So that pretty much happens where it's relatable, real-world, book-related topics, if you will, that you're hearing about. And then towards the end of the day, they're introducing you to the science of meditation. So what they're trying to do in that case is take you through the realization that just going quiet and silent will take you to a better place. They will have Dr. Chopra talk about his experience of understanding the chemistry of our bodies.
Oh, so he's actually there?
Yes, and so he speaks to us. And when you think about the stars, the cosmos, the same chemistry that's found in the galaxy is found within our bodies. It's pretty fascinating, if you really think about it. So there's a lot of cosmic science that really for, an engineering, a person studying STEM, you could really relate to. You feel so much more connected to the universe that maybe when I'm having a struggle in a relationship or parenting or a marriage or at school or dealing with a neighbor, whatever it is, maybe those things are happening to make you a little bit stronger and prepare you for something else.
Oh, my goodness.
Like a divine sense of order.
Yes.
So he talks a lot about the science, really, of the universe, that you and I, we are all infinite possibilities. So you are love, you are whatever you choose to be.
Thank you for sharing that experience. I felt like I was right there. I mean, I really, in fact, so much so, Dena, that so for those of us who want to recreate to the extent possible that experience in our own home, in our own self, what are the 1, 2, 3 things that you feel would be important for us to do or pay attention to?
Okay. There would be, the way you have to think about this is in 4 different components, because I didn't know you were going to ask this question, but it's having a sense of awareness. And if you continue to have a sense of self-awareness continuously, daily, it will set you up for good meditation and prayer. So prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening to God. And if you continue to do that, you'll find your intuition will guide you to better decision making. So he taught Deepak Chopra some of the, and this is their technology, and I will give them all credit here, is they said, think about, when you're in a small, dedicated, quiet space, and everybody, I hope they can find that space, whether it's, at home or in the workplace, in the stairwell, find a small, quiet space. Start with that. Think about the physical senses that you have. Close your eyes and think about what you are tasting, what you are seeing, and it could be little sparkles of light, what you're hearing, what you might be feeling on the texture of your fingertips. And acknowledge that. That's sort of, your senses, your overall senses. Then take your awareness to the physical space, which is wherever you might be, in your home or in a small room, and just acknowledge, this is where I am. I'm in my home, in the context of Detroit, in the context of XYZ neighborhood, in the state of Michigan, in the country of the United States. Just acknowledge that. That's a good place to start. And then move on. This is where it gets real complicated for even a lot of women, is move your awareness to the feelings, the images that you might have, which is your mental space. So think about, like, the political landscape. A lot is going on. You might want to acknowledge what is going on in the news, what is going on with your job in the workplace, what you're reading, what are the feelings. Do you get anxious when you're hearing those things on the news? Do you get fearful? What's really happening there? Just acknowledge what it is.
Okay.
It's not in your head.
Yes.
And then turn the page. Turn the page. Because you have to keep moving. It's a process of awareness, of acknowledging what that is, that feeling is, and what it is with one president versus what you may have had a certain feeling with President Obama. A good, happy feeling. Acknowledge what that is and move to a happy space. Look at that page and then turn the page. But it's that process of awareness that kind of takes you to a better place. And then the last quadrant that he teaches is universal consciousness, and for many of that is God. They don't use that word, but that's really the equation of that. So it's a universal connection that you and I have at this present moment, talking about God, and it's the connection to all of our listeners out there with what we're saying about yoga. And yoga is intended to be non-religious. They wanted to feel inclusive for anybody and anyone who wanted to practice a sense of awareness. Does that make sense?
Yes, so much so. And Dena, again, for, just for you to be able to, just do that, just give these gifts of these pearls of wisdom, relaxation, and tips for us, in terms of self-care and how it, thank you. I mean, that was just amazing. You are just amazing. an inventor, because I understand that you invented a stylish yoga mat organizer. And I know, and of course, I'm sure many of my listeners know you as the inventor of Pop and Go. So you know, Pop and Go, that scarf, you know, you can wear around your neck and put it over your head. You can wear it as a shawl.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you say that. I love that you acknowledge that. You know, coming out of that space where, you know, I was the CEO of the home and a stay-at-home mom, I wanted to work on problem-solving products that make them relatable, at least out of the gate. And then later on, I could move to more complicated, you know, products, whether it be an app or some sort of, you know, high-tech stem cell beauty product, which actually, you know, I might be working on next year. We're in conversation, so I'll keep you posted on that.
Okay, please do.
Let's start with, you know, when you're going through a process and you see there's a problem. So you want me to start with the scarf or you want me to start with the bag?
Well, I really want you to start with both of them at the same time, kind of, because we're coming near the end of our time. Yes. Yeah.
So basically, it's just that anytime you have problem, you know you have to be inventive and figure out how to solve those problems. And I think that's just the engineering in me. So I have learned the hard way that if you want to pursue a certain product and get a patent, I think it's really important to have a mentor. I'm happy to give my email is Dena, D-E-N-E, N-A at YogaShero.com. That's YogaShero.com. And feel free to email me. I love to mentor young inventors and help them out. You can easily incorporate your business first. It's always great to find some kind of group that's affordable, that's an accountant to keep all your numbers in order, and also great to have a lawyer because you want to have a baseline non-disclosure agreement that you can send out to anyone that you're working with. You always send that, always have them sign it, and then you can begin to protect your idea. Your time and treasure goes into that particular product design, and you want to make sure that it's protected. And that's like the biggest advice that I could give to a patent, you know, inventor person or budding person who really has a lot of wonderful ideas is make sure you have those business internal components readily available. And the first thing you want to do is issue some kind of survey or focus group on people who might want to buy that product and get feedback on it. See if it works for them, see how they want it to look, feel, touch, or experience it, and then go from there. Always go with the voice of the customer.
Yes. Yes. And, you know, you got, again, so much going on. And we just, I love the story, you know, getting your MBA from Northwestern and then using your STEM, your love of STEM and science and math to, you know, coming through a traumatic experience, but just rolling right on over to, you know, inventing and yoga and meditation.
You made a great point is that I really turned my struggle into an opportunity, right?
Yes.
So I went through a bad experience, but I said, hey, if I get through this, how can I help others?
That's right.
So I really teach yoga in a way that is accessible to beginners. I always accommodate the really advanced people at the end with some, you know, phenomenal peak pose that they like. And I make sure to do the breath work. We all have breath, and we all need to calm down, and we all need to have a sense of hope. And that's really what I try to leave with my yoga students, and that's what I do.
And I know that you and your husband are also philanthropists in the Chicago area. So I find that that's another aspect of balance and keeping the focus on yourself in terms of, you know, trying to be better, trying to keep yourself balanced, because volunteering and philanthropy and giving back makes you feel good too.
Yes, exactly. I get so much joy with seeing the faces of the children if I'm teaching yoga at a retreat for the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. I mean, those kids look so happy that they're connected with something that feels good, makes them more confident, keeps them more focused in school. And in fact, that's something out there. I think Russell Simmons was trying to lobby having yoga in the schools. We'll see, what becomes of that. But, I really try to do whatever I can in person from a volunteer perspective, but also donating financially. Not to toot Jeff's horn, too much, but he is the chairman of the board of Chicago Children's Museum.
Okay.
Navy Pier, and there's a lot of time and recruitment and networking that really needs to take place to keep the financial standing and the capital assets really great down there.
Yes.
And so they're always renovating and really trying to make the exhibits really impactful for the young kids of Chicago. So, and they offer, and we financially back free admissions for military families as well as free admissions for low-income families. So if a family cannot afford to go, we let them come in free.
Yes.
So,
unleashing your influence, you are doing that. Dena Dodd Perry, we appreciate you so much, and particularly your giving back. We understand, the yoga instructor and the well-trained and your mompreneur, your author, all of that good stuff. But your inventions, but you are giving back and giving back to communities and giving back to people, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being with us on Ignite to Impact.
Yeah, thank you so very much, and you have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Will do, and we'll have you back.
Yeah, namaste. Many blessings.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ignite to Impact.